to evolve. Road trip. Summer to evolve. Summer to evolve. Yeah. The summer to evolve. Road trip. Summer to evolve. Summer to evolve. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. I'm going to get us started for what we're here for. Working Session Wednesday, DE&I moving from strategy to action with Chondra, Customer Success Manager on our team. Before we get into our lesson today, though, a couple of housekeeping items. I'm Amber Ferrari, Marketing Communications Manager here at Jobvite. If you have any questions, technical or otherwise, there is a questions panel in the GoToWebinar menu system. Please drop that down, submit your question. We will either respond with your technical help or follow up with your questions about the lesson following the webinar. The last 10 minutes of our presentation today, we're going to have a Kahoot quiz. So we will put the link for you to join that. If you were with us last week, you'll know that the winner of the quiz, which covers the information you're learning today, gets a Jobvite prize pack. So that's super fun. Hope you stick around for that. And then lastly, if you have social takeaways you want to put on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, please tag us with hashtag Jobvite S2E. We'd love to hear from you. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Chondra, our speaker today. Hi, Chondra.
Hi, Amber. Thanks so much. Thanks, everyone. Again, as Amber mentioned, I'm Chondra Osorno, and I'm a Customer Success Manager here at Jobvite. So I am thrilled that you guys are taking the time to spend with us. And a couple of fun travel insights about me. My favorite trip was to Aruba. If you've ever been there, you'll know that it's a very quiet island, beautiful beaches. I personally like to be in the driver's seat because I love road trips, which is why I'm an automobile person over a plane, train. And my favorite international cuisine is Italian food. So I love, love, love Italian food. So again, I'm excited to spend some time with you. It's great to see people are joining, so thank you. This is really a subject that is top of mind in every company, regardless of size. So Amber, can you just go to the agenda, please? Perfect. So one of the things that my goal is, and our goal as an organization, is that regardless of the size of your organization, that you're able to walk away with one or two or even more things that you can think about as well as move forward in your organization. So I'll spend some time today talking about establishing a diverse employer brand. What does that mean? What's the value of it? How do you create one? I'll also spend some time talking about strategic diversity recruiting. So that's top of mind for everyone right now. So I'll share some tips and some things that I see that other organizations are doing. I'll spend some time talking about building community partners. And so again, that's important to establishing your employer brand and making sure that you're connected in your communities. So I'll talk about the benefits, how do you start one, and also how do you continue to make sure you have a strong relationship with those communities. And then I'll also spend some time talking about leveraging technology. So what are other organizations that I hear about and my peers hear about in our roles? Amber's already mentioned the quiz, and then we'll talk about what's up next and wrap up. So thanks, Amber. Next slide, please. So I love this quote, "Strength lies in differences and not similarities," by Stephen Covey. So I truly believe this, that our differences in our experiences, our viewpoints, all of that fosters innovation. And so every organization can benefit from innovation. And so that's one of the reasons why it's so imperative for us to really recognize those strengths and differences for our organization and for our community. Next slide, please. Thank you. So if I think about this, this is really a strategic imperative. This is really the climate in terms of every organization is looking at this, and every organization is trying to ensure how are we including diversity and inclusion in our recruitment, our talent development, advancement, retention, our policies and procedures. I always talk about, and I hear my organizations I work with talk about, that diversity and inclusion is a journey, it's not a destination. So as you listen to our session today, think about the things that you can do in your organization, in your community to help move these things forward. Every company has their own starting point. So don't compare yourself with where other organizations are. What you really want to do is focus on the things that you can do and how you can make change. Next slide, please. Perfect. So what is a diverse employer brand? It really is a company that embraces diversity. So what does that mean? That means that it's in their collateral, it's in their marketing campaign, it's on their career sites, it's on their websites, it's in their recruiting and their hiring practices. A couple of companies that come to mind for me are Dove and Pandora. So what I guess the other point that I want to make is you don't have to be a big brand or a large organization to make changes in these areas. Again, every organization has a different start. So what is the value of having a diverse employer brand? So the first thing is enhanced employee engagement. People like to, it creates a welcoming environment and a welcoming culture. And so that's one of the things that it absolutely does. People want to be engaged and they want to make a change. And so being part of that makes them very excited and makes them feel like they belong. Allow organizations to compete globally. So if we think about this last 15 months or so, if it hasn't taught us anything, is that we are all connected. And because we're all connected, we all have an opportunity to learn from one another. And so the more diverse we have in our organizations, if competing globally is something we do today, if it's something that you're looking to do in the future, this also gives you an opportunity to kind of drive that strategy. Improves in community relationships. So one of the things that I'll talk about a little bit later is really how those relationships and having those partnerships really can drive the strategy. The other thing is it reduces employee turnover. So obviously, if I'm more engaged in the organization, then I feel more of a belonging and I want to be a part of it. The other thing it does is increases profitability. So it improves the experience for the employee, which improves experience for the client. So it really is a win-win across the board. And in the end, it fosters innovation. I always say it's a benefit for everyone. It's a benefit for the company, the employee, the client, and the community. Next slide, please. So one of the things that I talk about, and I hear my clients talk about in other organizations, is how do you create a diverse employer brand? Really, at the end of the day, you need to look at your team. First, look internally. Be honest and transparent. I have some organizations that are not just looking at their management level and their executive level, but they're also looking at every department, every part of their organization. What are we doing internally? What does our current talent look like? What are our policies and procedures look like? So have the tough conversations. I always say it's a necessity in order to move forward in whatever it is. It's also where you learn the most by having those tough conversations. Recognize your gaps. Look at, again, your practices and your policies across the organization. Look at where there's opportunities for you to make impactful change. Many organizations launch a diversity and inclusion task force. Based on the information that's been collected from your team and looking at your policies and procedures, they can help you with identifying and recommending what are the next steps. What are the next steps? And so one of the things that I've seen that comes out of those diversity and inclusion task force is establishing a diversity and inclusion committee. And so with those committees, it helps drive change, it can drive tangible tasks, and it really gives you an opportunity to be focused on how you get to being a more diverse employer brand. And lastly, I say this because I think it's just so important, and you'll hear me say it multiple times. It really is about where other organizations are. It's really about where you are and how do you move the needle. Next slide, please. Thank you. So now that we've talked about creating a diversity brand, what are some of the ways that we get there? So the first thing, obviously, is to start diversity, to really work on your strategic diversity recruiting. So where do you start with that? What does that look like? So obviously, you want to examine bias during your interview. What are some of the things that you ask people when you interview? What are some of the information that you collect? Rethink your pipeline strategy. Many times I'll hear clients and other organizations say, we need to meet candidates where they are. I think that is a very critical part of diversity recruiting and being strategic about it, is you really need to think about where are folks spending their time on social media, where are they spending their time, whether it's participating in diverse job fairs, really understanding that for your client base and your organization and the talent that you're looking to bring on board. Ensure your interviewers are diverse. This is a very big one. Obviously, people connect with people that have similar backgrounds, but it's nice to see, right, that there's people across the organization that they may have something in common with, or there may be an opportunity for me to learn more. Because it's not just, it's also about learning about each other. Highlight your company's diverse culture during the process. Share if you have a D&I committee. Share if you've created a task force. Share if you've created what your diversity recruiting plan looks like. Bring them about part of that process so they can feel great about being inclusive in your brand. Create a strategic diversity recruiting plan. So identify your goals, identify your action plans, and what's your key performance indicators. Create a diversity sourcing plan. So many times this is where organizations pull together all of that data they've collected, whether it's internally, through other organizations, hearing from recruiting companies, etc. And this is where they really are able to drive change, is by creating that diversity sourcing plan. And it really helps them kind of identify where there's opportunities. Next slide, please. So every person is a new door to a different world. I love this quote, and each quote I think represents where we need to go in terms of our next steps. So if I think about really what that says to me as we think about being part of and getting community partners and expanding that within our organizations, we really need to understand what that does is allow us to have access to people that have different experiences and have different different opportunities, and it really allows us to kind of drive that that conversation better. Next slide, Amber. Thank you. So building community partners. What are the benefits of community partners? Well, first, it allows organizations really to embrace their role as a good corporate citizen. It's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. And what I've learned in life is when you do the right thing, good things happen. And so it gives you your organization an opportunity to really broaden the opportunities in your community that are underserved. And so what I mean by that is, I always think of it like this: is there might be one person that you are creating an opportunity for that may not have had an opportunity. So it goes back to, we also need to do small things to drive this discussion and drive the opportunities for other folks. Builds a stronger workforce for the future. So you get an opportunity to connect with people sooner, whether it's through colleges, whether it's through sororities and fraternities, all of those different things. There's so many organizations now providing so many things, opportunities online for you to participate virtually, because now they have the bandwidth to do it in a way they didn't before. And so it really allows you to get your brand out there sooner with these community partners. It obviously gives you the opportunity to get access to the high quality talent early. Everybody's competing, right? If we think about it, for many times the same talent. And so it really gives you the kind of leg up to be in front of these candidates sooner versus later. And it enhances your image, or organization's image and visibility by providing a valued community service. And so at the end of the day, again, you're doing a great thing. It is an appealing aspect for your employer brand and future candidates. People do a lot of research, as you all very well know, being in the TA space. They do a lot of research on organizations these days, especially as people are looking to make a change now. Amber, next slide, please. So here are a couple of tips for a successful community partner relationship. So the first thing is, I can't emphasize this enough. I've seen organizations do this, and they just do an incredible job in really first looking at their internal teams. People want to help. People want to provide feedback. They just need a forum in which to do it. And so look at your diversity and inclusion committee if you have one. Look at your survey your associates. If you have business resource groups, which are really employee-led diversity groups that really focus on really creating more of a diverse environment for organizations. So solicit feedback from all your different internal teams and ask them, who do they work with? Who do they partner with? Especially these days, many people are doing a lot of community work. And so you have an opportunity to really grab that from the ground level and get really firsthand information from associates, your business resource groups, and your various committees. Ensure you have a broad-based and inclusive partnership. So that really just says have multiple partnerships. Make sure your broad-based partnership might be not as strategic, and maybe it's just capturing applicants across the board, or candidates across the board, and getting an opportunity to really socialize and kind of network with them. Or it might be very inclusive, where you're looking for engineers or specific talent. So make sure you have multiple of those, because again, the whole idea is to increase your pipeline and give you an opportunity to have access to more people. Make sure you're sharing a common vision. Make sure you understand what they're trying to get out of the partnership and you're trying to get out of the partnership. And lastly on this, as you secure commitments from your partners, ensure that for where it's appropriate, that you may need someone who's specifically assigned to your organization to help with this partnership. And by all means, make sure you get any commitments in writing. Next slide, Amber. Thank you. Leveraging technology. So if I think about technology, really what it allows you to do is do things on a much scalable way. It allows you to be able to get access to people in your, whether it's talent networks, which is really ways you can reach out to folks, whether it's based on it's a nurse or it's cashiers or whatever the case may be for your organization. And it really, again, gets you to go back to really drive that. By leveraging technology, you really, it's not dependent on whether someone's on vacation. It's not dependent on whether or not there's something that happens in the process. It really allows you to push data, view data, and analyze data. So a couple of things to keep in mind. As you, certainly Jobvite as well as other organizations have the ability to provide resumes that de-identify information. So there's unconscious bias whether we want to acknowledge it or not, right? And so by removing some of those things, it really creates an equal playing field for everybody, and it also ensures that the person sees a very transparent process, which is what you want. Automate and distribution of your information to job boards. So there's, again, I mentioned earlier, so many organizations are really looking to get people engaged and involved. Look and see where there's opportunity for you to automate that process. Certainly Jobvite offers multiple solutions to do that, as well as other organizations. Because again, you want that data to automatically be pushed to those job boards, being able to get them out there quicker and have the ability to specify exactly which job boards you're looking for, because that can change over time. Remember, this is a journey. It is not a destination. So what you look at for today may be different in the months and years ahead. Automate your DE&I campaigns, whether it's through email or text messaging. So this is really around, leveraging how you're using, whether it's through your career sites and various avenues, and pushing that information out to your candidates and to folks that you are trying to get in your pipeline. And if you think about analytics, all of the data, I'm just amazed at all the data that is captured in various systems, in various places. Anytime there's an opportunity to pull all that data together and really analyze it, there's certainly solutions within Jobvite that allows us to do that for you, as well as other organizations. So anytime you're able to look at that information and push that information out to your to help you make better informed decisions and really help you to decide what your strategy is. Next slide. So my final slide is really, for my presentation, is really, if I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way. And I just want you to keep that in mind, that again, whatever, I hope you've taken away some things that are useful for you today, things for you to think about, and things that help drive that strategy. And so thank you for spending some time with me today. I wish you all a great rest of the day and a great time on your journey. Thanks, Amber.
Thank you, Chondra. As the promise of Working Session Wednesdays, we hit on DE&I moving from strategy to action very quickly with some amazing knowledge and great takeaways. And now, to close out this session, we'd love to have you join us. If you go to the chat, we have a link, kahoot.it. You can enter the pin that's here, and we will get you all signed up for this game. We have a 4-question quiz today, since we are a little short on time, and the winner is going to walk away with a Jobvite prize pack. So last week we had, I think, maybe 12 people participate in the quiz. Let's see if we can get a little more than that this time. So check out the chat, go to kahoot.it and enter pin 5721704. We were so lucky to have our customer success manager, Chondra Osorno, join us today and teach us all of the things. So now we want to see what you remember. All right, we have a pretty good group. Let's get started. Here we go. Question 1. What is the value of having a diverse brand? It enhances employee engagement, fosters innovation, reduces employee turnover, or all of the above. What's the value of having a diverse employment brand, everyone? You tell me. All right, all of the above. We got 23 correct answers. Let's keep going. Who's in the lead here? Jamie's in the lead. You're being scored on how quickly you answer and if you get the questions right. Question 2. When it comes to strategic diversity recruiting, which of these is a best practice? Allow implicit bias to remain unaddressed. Identify strategic goals, plans, and KPIs. Keep your pipeline strategy the same, or go to the job fairs you've always attended. What is a best practice? The answer is identify strategic goals, plans, and KPIs. Great job, everyone. Judith, rising to the top there. Go, Judith. Question number 3. Who benefits from these community partnerships that Chondra was telling us about? Is it your organization, your potential candidates, your community, or all of the above? All of the above. Good work. All right, Ryan. Moving up 3 places, Danielle is the highest climber. Question 4, how can you solicit feedback from your internal teams regarding your diverse employer brand? Rely on employees to share freely, hope team members post on LinkedIn with their opinions, create DE&I committees and resource groups, or see what your customers want from their employers. How can you solicit feedback? The answer is create D&I committees and resource groups. All right, let's see who's coming out on top today. In 3rd place, we have Ryan. Great job, Ryan. 2nd place, we have Kelsey. Amazing job. And in 1st place, we have Steve. Steve, way to go. If you could please reach out to me at amber.ferrari@jobvite-inc.com. I will make sure to get a prize pack over to you. And wait, everyone who did not win, we have one more chance to win a prize today, so please stay on. I will bring up a new screen to show you. If you still are on with us, we have a word of the day at the end of every single session that enters you into a weekly raffle and a summer raffle. So today, our session's word is Alcatraz. Please go to jobvite.com/word. Enter in Alcatraz. We'll know you attended this session and made it all the way to the end. You'll be entered into a raffle to win some fun Jobvite Summer to Evolve swag this week. And then this will count as your chance to be entered into the end of summer raffle, which is a $1,000 gift card to Marriott. So this gives you the chance to enter 2 raffles. There's a word at the end of every single Summer to Evolve road trip session. We hope you will join them all. And speaking of, we do have one more session this week during our new diverse workforce theme. We have walkthrough Thursdays tomorrow. So today, Chondra was talking all about strategies, how to move from strategy to action with your D&I practices. And you'll be able to see how some of that company messaging and outreach to attract a diverse workforce might work inside of a talent acquisition tool. So please sign up at the link in the chat to join Phil for tomorrow. And then next week, we hope you'll come back for week 3. You saw at the beginning today that we were in San Francisco this week. Next week, we are moving up into Canada, going to Toronto virtually, and it will be all about using automation. So how can we streamline some of these practices in talent acquisition to not only attract the new diverse workforce, but to simplify and optimize a lot of our other talent acquisition practices. So we hope we'll see you tomorrow. We especially hope we'll see you next week for Working Session Wednesdays, speeding up hiring, how automation can improve your process, as well as all the other great things we have during the Summer to Evolve road trip this summer. We hope to see you out on the road. Once again, I'm Amber Ferrari. I'm your host of Working Session Wednesdays. If you'd like to connect with me on LinkedIn, would love to have you reach out, would love to connect. And if you need anything, my email is amber.ferrari@jobvite-inc.com.